everyone, good day sir. We are the group 7 and we are going to discuss the different rescue techniques, and it composed of throw, row, and go. Each of our members will going to show the demonstration of each technique. Rescuing a drowning person is the last resort, and you should do everything possible to avoid getting into a dangerous situation in the first place. If you have to make a rescue and think of your own safety first and never put yourself into danger. If the rescue is too dangerous, wait until the emergency services arrives. First, let me define what is rescue technique. Rescue technique refers to a skill that enables an individual or a group to attempt a rescue when someone is in difficulty. And here are my members to report their part.
Water rescue methods are methods that used to rescue someone who is in trouble in the water. Example of this is reach. Reach is a sample of reaching your arm or leg to the victim. If a pull or sturdy stick is available, using them is applicable to the victim to pull him or her to safety. Be careful not to hit them in their damaged area or their head. Rescuing a drowning person is the last resort, and you should do everything possible to avoid getting into dangerous situation in the first place. Making a rescue attempt is probably a 50-50 choices, because thinking of your own safety is first and never put yourself in danger. If the rescue is too dangerous, wait until the emergency service arrives. Reach with a long stick or scarf or clothes or anything else. Crouch or lie down to avoid being pulled in. Wade. Test the depth with a long stick before wading in and use a stick to reach out and grab them to safety. Throw. A rope is best and you can pull them in the person. Otherwise, throw someone that will float, like a ball, plastic bottle, a life buoy that will keep the person float until help comes.
The third rescue technique is row. During rowing, you must always consider safety precaution and prepare all the things that are needed upon arriving to the rescue site. Then always be reminded when maneuvering outboard-powered boats in close quarters, make sure that the correct helm is applied before engaging forward and reverse gear. And always look in the direction row safe and check the way if it is clear. Both handling skills should become second nature so that you can concentrate on the task of rescue without having to think about how you are going to get the boat into the right position.
Swimming rescue techniques. The last technique is go. To rescue drowning people, and if you do not know how to swim or you are not trained, you can use different types of floating device. But if you are skilled and good at swimming, you can save the drowning people without a flotation device, as long as your method of rescuing the drowning is correct and proper. First, the drowning person should be calm and slowly rescue it and bring it to the shallow part of the water.
Rescuing a drowning person is the last resort, and you should do everything possible to avoid getting into a dangerous situation in the first place. If you have to make a rescue attempt, think of your own safety first and never put yourself in danger. If the rescue is too dangerous, wait until the emergency services arrive. Here are some rescue techniques that you must need to know. First is reach. With a long stick, a scarf, clothes, even your hands or anything else, crouch or lie down to avoid being pulled in. Second is wade. Test the depth with a long stick before wading in and then use the stick to reach out. Rescuers must physically enter the water and swim to the victim to retrieve them. This method may be used from the shoreline or from the boat depending on the circumstances. This method is typically used for unconscious victims but may also be used for conscious and alert victims that are in distress or unable to grab and hold on a flotation device. And lastly, CPR. CPR is a life-saving technique. It aims to keep blood and oxygen flowing through the body when a person's heart and breathing have stopped.
Hi, my name is Januel May S. Benitez of CRIM 35. Proper rescue can be best to be executed only when the types of the victim is properly identified. There are different types of drowning victims. First is distress. Distress is the one category of swimmer that isn't immediately danger, yet is very prone to turning into an active drowner. Distress swimmer can be identified by their weak or tight stroke and diagonal body orientation. The reason for their struggle may vary due to fatigue, health disorder, or swimmer who have become disoriented from falling into the water. If you see a distressed swimmer, encourage them to continue activity before their life become risk. Passive drowning victim rescue. Front approach. The lifeguard approached the victim from the front with the dominant hand. A lifeguard grabs the opposite hand of the victim. While the lifeguard begins to rotate the victim face up, the rescue tube is extended while the lifeguard pulls the victim towards him or her. The rescue tube is placed at the minimum past the shoulder but ideally at the victim's lower back. The rescuer is sure to support the victim's head with their hand. The lifeguard arms should be placed underneath the victim's armpit while kicking the victim to the nearest wall or designated exit point. Rear approach. A lifeguard approached the victim from behind and placed the rescue tube at a minimum underneath the victim's back. The lifeguard pulls the victim onto the rescue tube. To prevent injury, a lifeguard should make sure their head is to one side of the victim to make sure they are not struck in the face by the victim when placing them on the tube. The rescuer is sure to support the victim's head with their hand. The lifeguard arm should be placed underneath the victim's armpit while kicking the victim to the nearest wall or designated exit point. Approach without a change in direction. A lifeguard approach the victim from behind and place the rescue tube at the minimum underneath the victim's back. As the lifeguard grabs the victim, he or she rolls the victim face up while continue to swing in the same direction. The rescuer is sure to support the victim's head with their hands. The lifeguard arm should be placed underneath the victim's armpit while kicking the victim to the nearest wall or designated exit point. Shallow water passive victim. Without taking off the rescue tube, the lifeguard submerge and grab the victim in a head splint and brings them to the surface. If the victim face down, roll the victim face up as they are brought to the surface. If the victim is suspected of having spinal cord injury, follow the backboarding step to remove the victim from the water. If the victim is not suspected of having a spinal cord injury, place a rescue tube underneath the victim and follow the step to remove a passive drowning from the water.